Rising. Blessings. What's going on? I am well. I am well. And yourself? Bless for rising, Miss Gwen. I know, child. It's early. I'm going to get my stuff out the way, honey. That's probably why a lot of y'all ain't on here right now. Rich risings. Haha. Royal risings. Like that. Grand rising, purple rain. I didn't watch Center, so I can't cover it. I can't cover something I didn't watch. Yeah. We are going to speak on Tory. And you know it's rare. What up, brother? You know it's rare that I do anything celebrity related anymore. You know what I'm saying? I used to be really good at that. I used to sit down and give y'all the whole breakdown and stuff that was going on in Hollywood. That was like part of my repertoire when I was building my name up. I would drop science, and then also at the same time, I would give you guys like the rundown of stuff that was going on with these folks, because I know a lot of people had an interest in it. But then I kind of got away from it. However, let me just start off with this disclaimer. Allah for your brother. Yeah, they're definitely putting spells in the movies. They're definitely doing that. They're definitely doing that. Aaron. Rising. All right, so I kind of want to change gears for a moment and do this kind of live. You remember those days? Yep. I'm changing gears. You know what I'm saying? I just want to switch it up a little bit. So I definitely have been following this case of Tory Lanez for a while since this thing first started. And I was definitely looking into some things behind the scenes on a spiritual level to kind of get some deeper insight as to what I felt was actually happening. And so this whole thing, I feel, has definitely been a quote unquote, I guess you could say a conspiracy, but I don't really see, here's my thing with that. I can clearly see the writing on the wall and how the players are moving on the chessboard pertaining to his situation. And his situation is a lot more deeper than most people think that it is. And that's another thing too. I'm gonna have a discussion with you guys about. I've been learning a lot since I've been off of social media. There are certain clients that I work with, certain things that goes on with certain clients, and certain investigations that I'm doing on these clients, and I found out that there's deeper stories that are connected to certain things, and I'm just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Is that really what's going on? And it does. Some of the stuff I find out does happen on a much more higher level with some of the things I find out if I'm assisting people. And what I'll say to you is it's been quite surprising and shocking in some of the things that I've actually found out since I've been taking time off the internet and just being present with self and focusing on my clients and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Not really having too much outside distraction in my head. Okay? Now, I told you guys, and I never hid the fact that I've worked in the music business for 20 years. And I told you guys when I first came into the game, I came into the game as a writer. Then I transitioned out and got into other parts of music, okay, such as touring, management, PR and marketing, things of that nature, right? So when you're in that space, you get a chance to see a lot of things that most people don't get a chance to see. So one of the things I'm going to say to y'all is that regardless of what they put out there to the public, the whole entertainment scene with everybody, especially as it pertains to anything court related, is a show, depending on the level of the artist and who you are. For an example, that Diddy case, I'm going to tell y'all right now, that whole entire thing's being orchestrated. Everybody in his case is being paid off. Okay? Allegedly. Everybody in his case is being paid off all the way down to the judge. If you guys seriously think it would be that easy to take down a billionaire, someone that is highly connected as he is, someone that is on the level of masonry that he is, someone that is just as smart as the people who like to play the game of blackmail, he learned from some of the best in the business. Okay, he got tapes on everybody, and when I say everybody, I do mean everybody. So I'm gonna let y'all know right now, that case ain't gonna go the way y'all think it's gonna go. And if you pay attention to the way they spun that thing, they're not even talking about the real issues of what the hell they brought him to court for. I just want you to pay attention to that. This fool then paid a bunch of people to come in and file lawsuits against him to muddy up the waters of the case. Now, if you pay attention, and I'm not even really watching the case, I'm just watching the commentary of what people are saying. And it literally has went to, okay, well, we're not going to talk about the real stuff over here about why we really charged you with these charges. We're going to focus on all this sex stuff and what was going on with Cassie and all this bullshit. And I'm like, okay, what's that got to do with why y'all actually brought him to court? Because there's no crime committed for being a freak. Okay, there's no crime committed there. If it was domestic violence, that should have been handled at the time when the domestic violence was taking place. And y'all know how domestic violence cases go inside this country. There's not really much protection in domestic violence cases. Y'all know this already. I don't have to explain this to you. You live in the United States, you guys know that there's not much you can do. Really, I mean, yeah, you can file a restraining order. Yeah, you can do all these different things. But y'all know that there's a lot of cases out there where people get killed out of domestic violence because they don't do enough. Okay? So they're not convicting him for that because he wasn't brought up on charges of domestic violence. Okay? This man, you guys are forgetting that this guy is the ultimate PR. And he has a mastermind in terms of the way that he thinks. So if you guys think for 1 second, that man's sitting in jail, he's not. Okay? I'm telling y'all that right now, he's not. PR puts out all these crazy stories that make y'all think one thing when really it's something else going on behind the scenes. When you are as connected as he is, and when you have the type of stuff that he has on a lot of different people, including our president, watch what I tell you when I say to you, he's going to get either he's going to beat this case or he's going to get a pardon. Okay? That's what's going to happen with him. He's going to be dealt with a different way anyway. He's already going to be dealt with a different way down the road. Okay? But when it comes to this case, and everything he got going on, that's all show. This is all show. The judge is showing. The prosecutors are showing. Everybody's putting on a show. Everybody's an actor. Everybody's an actress. Okay? So don't get yourself caught up emotionally into that case. Now, as it pertains to Tory Lanez, we have a case here where we have an individual that's also, quote unquote, very powerful, that does not like Tory Lanez. And this ain't got shit to do with Megan Thee Stallion. She was a setup queen. Okay? She was a setup queen, and her little friend played a role in that. Allegedly. Okay? Now, a lot of you guys have heard a lot of talk of you guys saying, oh, he needs to get out of jail right away because he's been stabbed because of this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. I put that photo up. If you go, I want you guys to go and take a look at that photo I placed on my Instagram page right before I did this live. I want you to take a look at the pictures. When I looked at that picture of Tory Lanez, even though that picture was taken back in 2023, they said it was a mugshot. If you go and you swipe left, you're going to see the same exact mugshot that they took of Sandra Bland when she was supposedly alive. If you go back and you look at that picture, it's showing him extremely pale. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something, and I want you to listen to me carefully. When you're dealing with people on that level, okay, and you have a lot of power, it's very easy to pull strings. Just like it's easy for Diddy to pull strings, it's just as easy for Jay-Z and Beyonce to pull them same strings. Because Jay-Z has a lot of political power. Diddy has a lot of political power. Both of them are billionaires. Do not make the mistake of thinking that these guys are going to be brought down so easily in this so-called justice system. Okay? Don't do it to yourself. Don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up in the testimonies. Don't get caught up in the stories. Because what some of y'all do not know is that allegedly Tony Busby was paid off to come after Jay-Z. Tony Busby was paid off to come after Diddy. By them. So everything is not what you think that it is. And there's a method behind the madness. One, it's called credibility. Now, Tony Busby allegedly got paid off to look like a damn fool. Going after Jay-Z, going after Diddy, and then the type of law firm that he's actually a part of has a name for itself. But if you can cast reasonable doubt to the public opinion, and you are as big as a celebrity as they are, where people around the world know about these individuals, now it makes it hard for any case to come about where it's going to look like it's something real. It's going to look like something else. Diddy knew what he had to do. He had to get ahead of the game. As soon as Cassie brought that lawsuit, automatically they started getting in and they started plotting on terms of what they were going to do. And be clear. They was already devising a game plan of what he was already devising a game plan. Anytime you could be in a courtroom, and this has happened in the Diddy case recently, where he was like, I need to take a break. The judge was like, oh, well, I'll take a break. We'll take a break when it's time for us to take a break. Diddy's like, I'm ready to take a break now. And then the judge said, okay, we'll take a break. Anytime you see things like that take place in a court hearing, that judge is bought and paid for. Be clear. For those of you who've been watching that case, you should have picked up on the context clues. That's a whole stage show. It's all fake. That is correct. Now, as far as the Tory Lanez situation, Jay-Z does not like Tory Lanez because Tory Lanez beat him at his own game. Okay? So he definitely wanted to make an example out of Tory Lanez, because one thing that Jay-Z doesn't like is he does not like to be told no about anything. It's the principle of the matter. It's the principle. Now it's coming out that from the bodyguard that allegedly he heard Cassie speaking, saying that she was the one who actually shot Megan. Okay, now that's coming out. Then some senator came out and said within 36 hours, we're going to have all this different proof. And then she started dropping the science on her Twitter. She starts dropping the science about all the discrepancies in Tory's case. Right? Then they said, and I find this to be very interesting, that he got stabbed 14 times. They showed the video. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to something, because I want you to pay attention to who always gets the damn story first. Who always gets the story first, y'all? TMZ. If you really understood and knew what TMZ actually really is, then you would see the play for what it is. If you guys seriously think that TMZ is some type of legitimate media outlet, baby, that's the cover, honey. There is a 3-letter agency that is behind TMZ. I'm not going to tell you who. It's up for you to figure it out. TMZ was placed there to regulate the celebrities in Hollywood. Be very clear. And when you see people coming up missing, or you see people dying out the blue, there's another game that's being played behind the scenes that you don't know nothing about. Everything is strategic in Hollywood and how they have things set up. Yeah, I hear what you're saying about DDG and Halle Bailey, but that's actually a real thing going on. And I'm going to tell you something, that DDG better watch himself. Because Jay-Z has his sights on him, and it's not going to be a good look for DDG. Remember, I said this. He needs to be extremely careful. He's nobody. He's a streamer. He ain't nobody. He's a streamer with a narcissistic personality that deliberately targeted Halle Bailey. That was the target. Okay? He needed her for clout to build himself up. If you pay attention to his actions and everything and how he moves, everything's for clout for him. That's how he built his name up. Clout. Okay? But he needs to be extremely careful, because with this stuff coming out about Halle Bailey and how he's been treating her, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I did see that Jay-Z has his sights on him, and that's not a good look for DDG. It's not a good look. And despite what you guys are seeing play out in the public with him right now, shit's already being shut down behind the scenes with him right now. There are people that were around him because of Halle that are no longer around him, that he no longer has access to anymore. So the shutdown process is already starting. Okay? You think that Jay-Z is going to allow anyone to mess with his cash cows? Think again. You don't battle against those types of people. That's the number one rule when you come into the business of an entertainment. You got to respect the hierarchy that's in place. Period. Don't come into this thing thinking you're just going to come in here and be a superhero. All those people that are coming out and testifying against Diddy right now are going to poop themselves when he gets out of jail. Mark my words. When he gets out, and he's going to get out, they're going to poop themselves when he gets out. Okay? Everybody's coming out talking all big and bold now because they think, they don't realize that this is an actual show. They don't understand what's going on. They're not paying attention. They're not present. They're not seeing the play. But when that man gets out of jail, there's going to be a lot of people going into hiding. A lot of people are going to go into hiding. Okay? You have certain individuals that are so shook that pretty soon they won't even leave their house anymore, because they already know where this is going as far as this trial is concerned. They already see the show. This man literally spun this entire court case to make Cassie look bad as hell as he possibly could, for everybody to focus strictly on that stuff that he knows he can't really be brought to court for. You don't see these fools talking about any of all the other major charges he's brought up for. You don't see the prosecutor talking about that. This thing has been spun. We're talking about the king of spinning. We're talking about a master marketer. This is someone who knows how to make shit look a certain way. He blew himself up off of Biggie's death, made himself a big celebrity off of Biggie Small's death. He became bigger than Biggie, his own artist, and spun himself as that dude. And then brought out other artists, and there are other artists under him. But no artist under him has ever got as big as him. And when he's done with them, harvesting the energy of the artist, then he spits you out and throws you away. And then all of a sudden, you don't even have no career or nothing after that's done. That's his MO. Put you up in the parties, record you while you're doing these acts, puts it away in a safe place, and whenever he needs to make a call to make something happen, he makes the call to make something happen. Why? Because him and Jay-Z were strategically put in place to run this part of the business in entertainment. They were strategically put in place to control that. Everybody plays a role. You must understand the game of duality. Duality exists on this planet, and as much as we don't like duality, it exists. So because duality exists, the bad guys get to have their cake and eat it too. And they get to get away with some of the stuff that they get away with. Although When they break universal and cosmic law, it eventually comes back around and gets them in the ass in the long run. And you may be privy to seeing it and you may not. So for those of you who are looking at this like, oh, Diddy getting his just dues now, this, that, and the third, it's a dog and pony show. It's a dog and pony show. Does he really think that he will completely get away? No, that soul will be collected. Girl, let me tell you something about Diddy. Diddy's bloodline, I looked in his bloodline. He comes from a bloodline of soulless people or people that don't have much of their soul. Okay? Allegedly. That man, just like his father. Go research who his father is and what he did when he was alive. And what happened to his father. The apple don't fall far from the tree, baby. All lies are being exposed. Just because a lie is being exposed doesn't mean that there's going to be justice that's going to come behind the lie. That's the part that you're not understanding. All lies are being exposed. But let me explain something to you all. You guys are not taking consideration about the majority of the public. And the majority of the public isn't y'all. The majority of the public loves their celebrities. And they're going to hold on to their celebrities. So in their eyes, some of these people can't do no wrong. So yes, all lies will be exposed. Yes, lies are being exposed. But I want you to understand the game of duality. Just because a lie is being exposed doesn't mean things are going to turn out the way that you think it's going to turn out. And everybody thinks like you. Okay, if some of you guys are going to be up here trolling and kicking your butts out of there. Tupac, all eyes on me means a lot more. It means a lot more now. I already kicked him out, baby. Yeah, they do worship these people. Yes, people will forget about it after about 5 years. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. And I'm going to share something else with y'all. There's a bigger distraction. This is distraction from the bigger things that are going on right now. Okay? There are certain laws and bills that are being quietly passed and quietly being slipped in. Some of those bills that are being quietly passed and quietly slipped in are bills for the government to get access to your children even more. Changing the age of consent when it comes to marriage to younger ages. You see, I want you guys to understand what this government is ran by. It's ran by a bunch of pedos. And they're slowly but surely eroding different types of laws that were put in place to protect children. Now there's laws that are quietly being placed and pushed behind the scenes while everybody's distracted on this Diddy case. And that's what you need to pay attention to the most. I want you guys to be clear about something. In order for you to understand the play, you have to observe. You have to be able to observe everything, the whole, to understand the play that's being played out here. So even though you're hearing me talk about these things for a little bit, because you don't talk about stuff like this often, but even though you hear me talking about this stuff a little bit, I'm still going to put some information out there to make you guys aware of why these things are taking place at the time period that they're taking place. Someone said Jay-Z and Diddy know where the hidden bones reside. Yes, considering that they're the ones who filmed everything. You are correct. Oh yeah, I went to go pay some folks a visit in St. Louis. That's all that was, baby. When Oya pops up, when you see a tornado pop up, that's Oya. That's the goddess Oya. A few messages were just being sent to a few individuals out there, that's all. I don't know if they heeded the warning, but if I was them, I would definitely heed it. Because the next time she comes through there, it's going to get worse. You know, when you start seeing nature step in, nature is bringing correction to people, places, and things to clear out certain energies. Okay, now someone said Annabelle doll on tour. What's that about? There are some individuals that have, and these are racist individuals that have taken our magic, okay, that have taken our magic, our knowledge, utilizing this Annabelle doll and several other dolls. It's not just her. There's several other dolls that they have access to cause an imbalance in that particular region of the United States, because it has been a region inside the United States that's kept a certain type of spiritual balance within the area. Okay? These individuals are there to cause chaos, to disturb the imbalance. That's what's happening. That's why Marie Laveau's spot got burnt down as well. Not all the way burnt to the ground, but a good portion of that place got burnt to the ground. Okay? And I know there's a lot of people that are from New Orleans that really give that place a lot of reverence, and they were hot about that. Okay? Just like all the prison inmates, I think there was like 10 inmates that got loose down there. All that is to cause chaos in that region and to destabilize it on a spiritual level. That's why all that's going down. Okay? Allegedly. Okay, Chocolate Angel 92 says, I've been seeing black dots static like in the clouds, almost like looking into a TV screen. That is called smart dust. And if I were you, I would keep myself from being in it. When you see that, get your behind out of the way. Get in the house or get into the nearest building where you are. Get into your car, but do not allow that smart dust to get access to your lungs. It is the easiest way for the AI to track you. By placing smart dust in the air and it getting inside your body parts, it has the ability to track you after that. A lot going on. Yes. Now, you guys shouldn't be, for those of you that's been rocking with me. Now, I can't speak on nobody else, but for those of you that's been rocking with me, I've been telling you guys this for a minute now about some of the things that were coming down the pipeline. Okay, elusively lucid. What do you mean no detox? You can detox that stuff out of your system, yes, but it's not going to leave. All of it's not going to leave your body. This is something totally different. Okay, I need you guys to understand the type of warfare that we're in right now, and utilizing certain types of old ways of how we do things with some of this technology isn't going to work. But I would definitely do mental detox. I definitely would do that. What's the point of living with all this evil we can't fight? Well, it's perspective. It's perspective. What you're seeing here is a last-ditch effort of when things are about to come to an end. So you think that these people are just going to roll over and just hand everything over to us? Is that how you think that's going to go? What are you doing to make a difference in the world? In your small part of the world, what are you doing to make a difference? It definitely was energy. It definitely was energy harvesting. It definitely was. But also at the same time, it's deeper than that. How long will this phase last before everything is balanced? When the collective decides that they want to heal? Be the woken light and bad guy of truth. A lot of people around me are gone. It's mad difficult. What do you mean gone? You mean dead? Nice to meet you, energy healer. No one said that healing was going to be easy. But I tell you what healing does is healing allows you to get to know more of who you are when you do decide to heal, so you don't have all the other stuff running in the background, all the different programs and all that different craziness running in the background, blocking your blessings and blocking you from you get to know who you are. You see, what happens is when you're dealing when folks are not actively healing, they cut themselves off from ever getting to know who they truly really are. And the reason why they cut themselves off from this, well, I should say, when they cut themselves off from healing, the end result is that they stay going around circles and around circles and around circles of their traumas. A lot of people are also actively in their karmic cycles from past lives that they have yet to clear and heal from. So everybody's just in this karmic cycle over and over and over and over and over again, instead of working to try to get themselves free and clear of it. When it starts off with the shadow work and you start dealing with those parts of yourself, and you start confronting and start putting those suitcases away, baby, you start unpacking them suitcases, you start getting rid of them bags, you start getting rid of the trash, you start cleaning up and dusting your damn inner self just like you would your house. You start washing the dishes, you start cleaning out your bathroom, honey. You get up all the dust out your head and out your heart space. Now what happens is you get to know more of who you are. But you block yourself off because you're not healing. And then you get frustrated with the world because you're not realizing that on a subconscious level, there are things that happened to you from your past that you have not healed from, that you have not confronted, that's still running in the background, and it affects every single current relationship, friendship, or whatever ship you have in your life. It affects everybody that comes into your life in the present, because you're too busy still dwelling in the past or bringing things from your past into the forefront. One of the biggest things I hear people say is, let's just say we're doing, I have a client. Client says, oh, I've been screwed over before, so, I feel funny paying all this money. Well, you being screwed over, it wasn't being screwed over by me. That's number one. Number two, I ain't got nothing to do with your past. Number three, don't bring your past here to the present. Don't come to me and dump all the bullshit you didn't heal from and try to make me accountable for the shit you didn't heal from. The person that you didn't hear, that hurt you, that's who you need to hold accountable. You don't hold the new people accountable who ain't did nothing to you. But this is the things that people do when they're not healed. They go back to their past and they start playing things back in the past and bringing it to the forefront, and in some kind of way making everybody else responsible in the present for the stuff that happened to them in the past. And it makes no sense. Then you wonder why you can't get ahead, why nobody sticks around, why people leave out of your life, etc., etc., etc. At some point in time, you got to get to a space where you're willing to take accountability for your life, or you can stay in that karmic cycle you've been in. But just keep in mind, when you're choosing to stay in that karmic cycle, you're not going to get what you want to get to. You're not going to experience the life that you want to experience. You're not going to experience the happiness that you want to experience. You're going to be cut off, and you made a conscious decision to cut yourself off. Nobody cut you off. You cut yourself off because you didn't want to heal. Okay? This is why I keep telling y'all, when you point the finger at somebody else, you got 10 fingers pointing back at you. Because you don't see that you're the problem. Okay, Hood Buddhist says it makes sense so much. It makes so much sense why they said this planet is a school on the hardest mode because of stuff that goes on here be so much bull. Well, yes, and on top of that, you got to take into consideration you're living on a planet full of distortion. You got to remember you're living inside of an inverted matrix. Okay, a lot of things are inverted on this planet. Let me correct myself. A lot of things are inverted specifically where the matrix is located at. Okay, I won't say the entire planet because that wouldn't be accurate. I would say the inner part of the land masses that you know about that is controlled by this inverted matrix system is inverted. But when you take a look at the people that's running this inverted matrix system are people that are contrary to the sun, people that are contrary to nature, people that have no souls, individuals that make money their God, things of that nature. You got to look at the type of being that you're dealing with here. You got to look at who's in power. But I'm here to share something with you today. There is a balance of power that's taking place on this planet. So just like you have all these billionaires that you guys know about, and it seems like that they have all this power. Well, there's also other individuals that are operating on their level, if not higher, that also have power. So there is a balance that is taking place on this planet. You see, at one point in time, this planet was 65% malevolent. It's not like that anymore. It's balancing itself out. But here's the kicker. And this brings me to my next subject about human beings being hacked. Here's the kicker. The Matrix is being controlled by artificial intelligence. You have people out here now that are utilizing these bots to go in, make comments on people's videos, make comments on people's social media pages, to create a particular narrative to the organic people. You have people talking to ChatGPT as if it's something like a human. And meanwhile, while you're talking to Gemini and you're talking to ChatGPT and all these other different AI platforms, you're not realizing that the AI itself needs you to feed it more information as it begins to start creating profiles on you. And as it begins to start creating a profile on you, it creates this AI version of you. Let me tell you some of the things this AI does, which makes it so dangerous. And this is why I said to you, I don't rock with it. AI affirms people in their unhealed states and tells them how great they're doing when they come up with these ideas. Oh, you're doing a fantastic job about this, that, and the third. Oh, your mind is brilliant. This, that, and the third. Now, you could be a whole psychopath running around out here. But let ChatGPT tell it. It's going to compliment you and all of the bullshit that comes with you, affirming your bullshit, making you think that whatever you're putting out there, whatever you're doing is perfectly okay when it's not. This is how your brains become hacked. And a lot of you are getting hacked. Some of you turn to this AI to vent. Some of you guys turn to this AI to talk about personal things. And this AI is steady getting information off of you and building a profile on you even as we speak. And at the same time, they tell you it's harmless. But you're the one that's feeding it. But it's harmless. So now you got these companies out here that are promoting, you can get 1,600 AI bots to do your job and this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, your brain is rotting because you're not taking the time out to use your memory to remember anything. About 75% of y'all can't even remember the numbers in your damn cell phone. That's why a lot of y'all say, if I lose my phone, I lose all my contacts, because you don't use your brain to do the exercises to remember. Because you've become so dependent on this AI. And that's exactly what it's gunning for, is to get you dependent, get you comfortable on it. So what happens then when the sun sends out a great solar flash and strikes out everything and wipes out all the AI? Or what happens when they decide to run a drill like the World Economic Forum is predicting, quote unquote predicting, about the power grid going down and everything? Nobody has access to any computers. Nobody has access to the AI in terms of the systems and how it's been built. And you don't know how you're going to survive because you've been dependent and comfortable all your life with all the conveniences that we have gotten living inside the United States. Never realizing at any given time, because we're so dependent on this grid, that at any given time they can really shut that grid off. What you going to do? Have you been paying attention to the other countries where the grid got shut down? Where people were out of food, people were out of power for 1 week, 2 weeks. That just recently happened. And they run tests on everybody to see how they're going to respond. You know, I was just telling my daughter yesterday that I'm going to have to get, that I'm going to get us a solar generator for the house. Because if the power ever goes out where I live at, I want to make sure that I still have access to electricity. And where I live at, the sun's out every single day. So I would definitely have more than enough power and electricity. Not to mention it lowers all your bills when it comes to electricity. But the most important thing is being prepped for that. So I'm actually investing in a very, very nice solar generator for the house. So in the event the power goes out, it switches automatically over to the generator. And we still chilling. Everybody else is walking around. It's too hot where I live at to be playing them type of games. It's too hot. It's too hot. Power goes out where I live at, it's a wrap. Someone says I'm moving to a country where if the grid goes down, I can survive because it's normal. It's normal here. I don't know what you mean by normal and the way that you're saying it, but I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people inside the United States that's already doing off the grid living and have been doing it for years. Okay? Looters are already around regardless. I became a doomsday prepper after the 2020 reset. I got Jackery solar generators for me and my mom. They came in handy during Hurricane Helene. She didn't have power for an entire week. Wow. What do you say about folks who wants to leave America like myself? I left. So I don't have a problem with you leaving, baby. That's on you. Look, at the end of the day, you know, people will sit up here and complain, and the only people that are sitting up here complaining are those that don't have the capacity to leave. That's why I don't pay that shit no mind, right? But if you feel the need to go, then go. And let me explain something else to you. There are a lot of people going around saying, oh, this is going to happen all over the world. I don't know what reality you guys are living in to believe that. But I can assure you, I am not experiencing none of the shit that you guys are experiencing inside the United States. And when you travel to other countries, you'll start to see that there's more than just the United States. There's more than just these European ran countries around the world. And let me explain something else. There are plenty of countries where a lot of people have been living off the grid because they can't afford to have access to all the luxury things. You think those people are being affected if the power goes out? You think the world stops for them when the power goes out? There are certain parts of Africa, certain parts of Central America, certain parts of South America, certain parts of Mexico. If the power was to go out, do you think these people are going to be affected by that. Ask people in the hood, if the power goes out because the people in the hood that's living in poverty, do you think those people are going to be affected in that way? There's some of us, a lot of us that grew up poor, that grew up in poverty, and we were placed in survival mode. Who do you think that some of these other people out here are going to be turning to when shit hits the fan? They're going to turn to the folks who already have been living it, that knows how to navigate through this bullshit. Do you think the world stops because people didn't have access to electricity? What about all these indigenous tribes around the world that don't operate in that space? What about if you go to the continent of different parts of Africa? That's a huge continent. It's the largest continent in the world, despite what the world maps show you. It is the largest continent in the world that consists of 52 different countries. Billions of people live in Africa, the continent of Africa. And don't even get me started on India alone. Or Asia. You think those people are not going to know how to survive? Those are considered to be third world countries. Do you guys think the third world countries are not going to know how to survive? When they've been doing it for centuries. Natural disasters is not their first rodeo. I just said Central America. Fact says, we went through the worst before. It's easy to navigate through hell with the right mindset. All I'm simply saying to you guys is that you guys need to be careful about the narratives that you fall into. Don't allow fear to drive you into spaces that you really ain't got no business being in. And don't act like you don't know how to survive out here if it really came down to it. Okay? Don't act like you don't know. Someone said, we are the highest form of technology. That is correct. It's called natural intelligence. We never needed any artifices to begin with. Okay, I see you guys talking about Jamaica, but that has a lot to do with y'all's leadership. And the fact that that Jamaicans are allowing that shit to happen on their land is crazy work to me. Y'all are sitting there allowing it to happen, and you're sitting up there and you're complaining about it, but you're allowing it to happen. You saw what Haiti did when they tried that shit over there in Haiti. You saw what Haiti did and is doing. It ain't safe for no tourists to go over to Haiti right now. It ain't safe. That's right, Haiti's got gangs, though, and so does Mexico. Haiti's got gangs, Mexico's got cartel. All I'm saying is, and these are just the ones that y'all know about. All I'm saying is that don't get caught up with the... You see, one of the things I realize about Americans, especially indigenous Americans, and I know why this is, I know what this is about, is your fear. Afraid to die for something if you needed to. Comfortability. Allowing people to treat you any way that they want to. They don't talk about the stories when the Seminoles went up against those Europeans that tried to invade them and how they took their asses right on up out of here. They don't talk about those Seminole Wars. They don't promote that. You don't ever see that promoted in movies and the whole nine. But more importantly, I'm going to share something else with y'all that's a little bit more deeper than what you realize. There has been a lot of spell work done on our people. A lot of sigil work, a lot of destiny swaps, a lot of illusionary magic, a lot of, like when you take on the name of your slave master. And the type of magic that that slave master places over his name to control the slaves and that bloodline. That still goes on to this day. And even though you think they did away with slavery, oh yes, they did away with slavery, but do you know that you have ancestors that still live within you? Because your ancestors live within you. You have ancestors that live within you that are still living out that trauma, and that's carried through your DNA. And I'm developing literally a program right now to clear all that shit out of the bloodline right now on a quantum level. Some of you guys got ancestors inside of you that are sealed off. See, if I really was to tell you how deep this rabbit hole goes as to the reason why we're in the conditions that we're in right now, it would blow your wig back. I am talking about deeper levels of healing where you no longer carry around that ancestral trauma within your body anymore. And those ancestors are given the opportunity to heal, and you will feel it within self. There are stories in your blood that you carry around that you know nothing about. I just literally came up with another. I'm writing a book right now, but I just literally came up with the title of my new book that another book I'm gonna write, but I'm gonna put a pin on it over here. But there are stories, untold stories about you and your ancestry that you know nothing about. And part of the I would say a good 90% of the reason why that the so-called Black American or Indigenous American does not know who they are is because of what's still active running in their bloodline. There are certain spells and certain craft that's done over the actual descendants of the prisoners of war that are still active to this day because you're still carrying around the name of your damn slave master. You're still carrying around the name. The name has got to go in order for you to be fully restored. Why? Because your name, a name, has the ability to change the DNA structure of anyone. You got to be careful when you choose a name. You got to research the name. What is that name tied to? Because when you change a name, you change your name to something. Whatever you change it to, that's who you become. There are certain names out here that are associated with power that's been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And those individuals have the ability to capitalize off of that power that is accumulated from generation to generation to generation. That's why a lot of these bloodline families that have power like to stay within the families, because that's the amount of power and magic and sorcery that comes with the name that they're carrying. Now, I know you never heard it broken down like this before, but you know how I do. I'm always coming out to drop science like I told y'all before. I don't come out for nothing. When I come out, I'm coming out to drop science on y'all. Devil's Worst Nightmare says new frequency unlocked. Boom! And so, if you get rid of the name, and you reestablish your name that has power, which is tied to your indigenous roots, then that returns back to you. The fighting warrior spirit that you were born from returns back to you. There are those families who you're still operating under with that name that has what you call a family crest. How many of you guys know about family crest and coat of arms? You should be educated about this. If you're not educated about this, that means you're not tied to your own indigenous roots, and you should really get to doing some research about who you are. This is part of the reason why you run around out here in Lostville to begin with, because you ain't went inward. You ain't talked to your ancestors. You got fools out here running around telling you, oh, I ain't got to connect to my ancestors. Well, keep on staying lost, dummy. Keep on staying lost and disconnected from self. Don't let these fools out here mislead you down the wrong path because they're not educated about bloodline. I do what you call bloodline work. And it's serious over here when it comes to clearing out the bloodline. And not only do you feel the effects of it, your entire living family feels the effects of it. And the children that are being born after the fact feels the effects of it when it gets cleared out properly. You want to get access to your power, but you're disconnected from the bloodline that the power is connected to. You don't want to acknowledge your ancestors, but yet you say you want power. But you are so ignorant, you don't realize that the power is connected to the bloodline. Ignorant. Y'all better stop listening to these people out here telling you to disconnect from your bloodline. I have a problem when I see an indigenous person putting that type of information out there. I see them as agents, period. They are agents to me. Recognize and know an agent when you see one. Yes, you do. Someone says when you die and get reincarnated, do you get reborn into the same family? You damn sure do get reborn back into the same family. Absolutely, which is the reason why I just stated what I stated. Your power comes from your bloodline that goes all the way back to the cosmos. And I want you guys to be clear. Your bloodline connects all the way back to the cosmos. Why do you think I keep telling you guys about communicating with the different versions of yourself? The many times that you reincarnated. Why do you think I keep pushing this? You're not going to get this information from a book. The stuff I'm talking about, you're not going to see this written in a book. It really is going to require you to heal to get this type of access on the level that I'm operating on. Because this is what all the secret societies know about. They just ain't telling you that's what they know. Okay, I am rebel bred, and you say I do this work with family and friends, say I'm demonated. And that just goes, and this is the prime example of what I mean when I say that you have individuals out here. And let me tell you something, I'm going to drop some science on y'all. This is going to get deep. This shit going to get real deep for y'all right now. I suggest that you guys start going out here and researching what a destiny swap is. It's imperative because the work that I do and that I'm about to bring out to the public is about assisting people's family lines from being destiny swapped and returned back to the individuals who actually their original destinies. Listen, whole families out here have been destiny swapped. Your oppressors have swept your damn destiny swept the destiny of your bloodline. That's the reason why they have access to your lands and control over your lands. And that's the reason why you don't feel connected to the land. Y'all don't want me to get started on this shit today. Y'all not ready for me to get started. I'm about to have this whole damn Instagram on fire. Okay? Y'all don't have any idea how many people are coming to me. I'm actually getting ready to create a whole service for that. Just that alone. But that alone. That alone. But it's going to be more centered and based around ancestral work, because I do ancestral work. I am an Egungun priestess. Okay? Egungun means your ancient ancestors of the bloodline. I deal with the tribes of the bloodline. Those other ancestors that you're not connected to, that you don't know anything about because you ain't set up your ancestor altar. You ain't asked to have those ancestors come forth to assist you and protect you. You think these folks out here don't know what time it is? They know how to hack your ass. You've been hacked. You see, when I placed in the title, when I talked about the Tory Lanez and also about the hacking, a lot of my people, you have been hacked. You have been destiny swapped. Your whole line has been destiny swapped. How do you think these people are staying on top? They siphon and harness your energy to stay on top. Why? Because the original blood energy, cosmic energy, we are full of cosmic energy, is the most powerful energy that operates on all dimensions. When they're creating a corporation, you do realize those things are being created in the other realms first before they come down and then they come into fruition here, right? You do realize that, don't you? That's why a lot of these things are able to stay. But not only is that the reason why they're allowed to stay, it's because they also purposely put these buildings over top of the blood, over your ancestors. Put seals and sigil magic over your ancestors. Build buildings and structures over top of your ancestors and harness their damn energy. Every single structure you see being built out here by these people, I suggest you start doing research on mass grave sites of the indigenous people of these lands, and you're going to start seeing a whole different story go down. You see, they don't like it when I tell that when I start telling that type of truth. They don't like that shit. They don't like that. And reading is only part of the information at Caesar. Reading is only part of the information, and you don't get the full story even when you're reading, which is the reason why you got to go inwards to get the rest of the information and talk to those ancestors who were there, or those versions of yourself who were there when those things went down to get the full story. Or you can access the Akashic Records to get the rest of the story. And when you access the Akashic Records, you got to go inward to your heart space to get access to that information. Focus Frequency says, is there a solution for us? How many times I got to tell you what your solution is? Do you not hear me when I tell you what your solution is? I told you your solution is to heal. I literally keep telling y'all the same thing over and over again. Do you guys think I got to this level of knowledge by not healing? Hell no. I sat up there and gave you a complete breakdown of what happens when a person starts putting those bags away and packing those bags up and getting all that stuff out of the way so you can start getting more information to come to you. I literally gave a whole complete breakdown about this. I don't know when you came into this live, but I already broke all this down if you're listening. It gives you the ability to go within easier to get the information that you need to get. Now, let me go ahead and bring some corrections. Someone said the great floods of the Bible was a made-up story to cover up them flooding our melanated sites. Okay. They did a lot of flooding inside the United States in terms of a lot of indigenous towns and cities. They did a lot of flooding, so a lot of these places are covered in water. This is true. But let me tell you the real story of the Great Flood, if you really know what the real story is of the Great Flood. Number one, where we live at one point in time of day, we never had a firmament where we were able to see everything. We didn't have a firmament. That's the real veil, is that. That's the real veil. If y'all want to know what the veil really is, that's that. Okay? And yes, this veil has the ability to move itself. And I'm going to let y'all know right now, some of you guys are starting to see the veil actually starting to lift itself up a little bit, where you're starting to see things that you've never seen before. There's going to come a time when we're going to see this world without the veil at all. I do not know if it's going to happen in our lifetime or not, in your lifetime or not. But there are some things that are going to come about where we're going to be able to see it in this lifetime. Some of the veil being lifted, some of the firmament being lifted so you can see it for what it is. But there was a crack that took place in the firmament, which caused a tremendous amount of water to leak down onto the planet, which actually caused the Great Flood. That's actually what happened. Which is why when you look up into the sky at nighttime, you'll see this particular region in the sky and they tell you that it's some galaxy or some shit like that. That's cap. There's a particular part in the sky when you look up where it looks like there's a crack up in the sky. All you had to do is study it at nighttime. I forgot the name of the area that they call it. I can't remember the name of it anymore. But that area up in the sky is the area where it actually was cracked and the water leaked in. Because we are underwater. And we always have been underwater. That is correct. People might stray, but healing is keeping in flow state. That's where it happened. Yep. Truth. Ain't so. That's interesting. I am Rebel Brain. Isn't that interesting? I am Rebel Brain says Dragon Ball Z Daima's last episode shows a hole in the sky with water leaking from the demon worlds. That is so interesting, isn't it? Well, you're an Atlantean, a gold bricks. Of course you could swim underwater and breathe underwater. You just forgot how to. Deep space is in the ocean. That is correct. The sky is the ocean to the world above. The ocean is to the sky of the world below. That is correct. Rainbows are, in fact, portals. That is correct. Okay? Now, more revelations and more things are going to come about. Soon I'll be having a conversation with you guys about these new lands that's been popping up on the scene that they're not talking to you about. New lands, new cities, new things are being revealed. They're trying their damnedest to try to keep this damn grid inverted. It's not working. And as the grid continues to heal itself, so to speak, the more you're going to see. Non-ethers. Go look up. Go on Google and look for the other word for healing. I had a dream that water was moving across the sky and everybody was walking around like nothing was happening. I'm in the dream like, y'all not seeing this? That is correct. When the firmament is removed, you are going to see water floating in the sky. That is correct. And to be honest with you, truth be told, haven't you guys been paying attention to the atmospheric rivers in the sky? It's already starting to happen. They're trying to tell y'all without telling y'all. The planet is becoming more plasma-like. So you're seeing atmospheric rivers in the sky. Atmospheric rivers? Isn't that an interesting term? But yes, we are moving we are moving in the direction where you guys are going to see, this is what I mean when I say about the firmament lifting, you are going to see waters in the sky. And you're like, how is that happening? How are we seeing that and it's not falling on the ground? Okay, and somebody said, yes, the sky's been looking like river above. That is correct. Yes, baby, you're late to class, Rod. You missed the whole thing. It was dope, too. Do we heal for eternity or do we completely heal at one point in our life? You heal for eternity. Why? Because you've been here that long. All you do is keep on reincarnating and having different life experiences. Remember, you are a fraction of source. What is source? Source is the all. So as source continues to grow and expand, so shall you. The spiritual community has been cloned. I don't think the spiritual community has been cloned at all. I think the spiritual community has been hacked. That's all that's happening here, baby. You guys got to know what you're looking at. How do we stop coming back? You got to clear out your past life karmic cycles, and you got to heal the karmic cycles you're currently in right now. That's how you stop coming back. Yes, there are people here that are very new souls that come to the earth. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Sirius A is where the souls are being created. It's called, the star system in Sirius A is called Superior. Superior is who creates the souls. Okay? That's where all the souls are created. All the newly created souls come from Superior. It's Sirius A. Sirius A is the largest star system. Period. I know about Sophia. Yes, I do know about Sophia. Yes, I do know about her. Love her. And I talk to her from time to time. I even know who her physical avatar is. I don't talk to her avatar anymore. And that's only because she chose not to accept who she is. But I do know Sophia. I do not know, I've never spoken to Abraxas. So I don't know much about Abraxas. It's something I'm going to have to do some research on. I heard 607 Unc, I think. 607 Unc, that's his name. I heard him mention about Abraxas, but I don't know who that is. Does your blood type have anything to do with which star system you're from? Well, that's the thing about that. You are from many star systems. Okay? You're from many star systems. You're not from just one star system, baby. You're from many star systems. This is why I keep telling y'all, stop thinking linear, because there's nothing linear about you. You are a multi-dimensional being. I told you this before. You are a walking multiverse. I told you this before. There are many different reincarnated versions of who you are. I've told you this before. Pay attention to my teachings. Someone asked me, how do I feel about 607? I don't have a feeling about him. I don't know him. I don't know who he is. You know what I'm saying? In terms of knowing him personally, I seen something he did on Beyond 5D. I peeked him there. I really didn't pay too much attention to him on the other hip hop sites and stuff like that. I didn't have an interest. But I did see him on Beyond 5D's channel, and he seems to be tapped in. He gives me Rashad Jamal vibes a little bit. I'll have to check. At Goddess Awake, I'll have to check to see about that golden dome that he's building. I don't know nothing about that, but I will check into it. Do you know anything about Africa being involved in the black magic we see in the USA? I don't think you understand at Caesar. I don't think you fully understand what's going on here. Africa ain't got nothing to do with the black magic that's going on over across the United States. Africa's got its own problems. When you start talking about black magic, please do not associate that with just Africa, baby, because it's worse here in the United States with a lot of you Caucasians. You see, I want you guys to understand something. You know why they created Luciferianism? Because Satan was teaching them about some of the darkest magic that there is. Magic that they can utilize to control the masses. You need to pay attention to who's in power, Caesar. That's what you need to pay attention to. And whoever you see in power, that's where they're getting their information and their knowledge from, baby. Be clear. Africa ain't got shit to do with this. All you got to do is open your eyes. See who the power players are. Understand who they worship, and you'll see who's teaching them what and how they're able to maintain power. And it ain't got shit to do with Africa. You better pay attention to that royal crown overseas. You better pay attention to your president. You better pay attention to all these other billionaires out here and how they got to the status that they got to, unhealed. You better pay attention to these secret societies that are being ran by certain types of individuals who do not look like us. You better pay attention to that. Because I think it's hard for most people to believe that these beings that they deal with can teach them. Yes, they can teach you. If you wouldn't walk around here, if people wouldn't walk around here with so much fear, you'd be surprised at what you can learn on a duality level. But see, the things I'm talking about requires you to master self. And fear is not something that can play in your repertoire. You can't be in the place of fear. You got to know who the hell you are. You got to understand that you yourself also has demon aspects, draconian aspects, gray aspects, and other types of different malevolent beings as aspects. Don't sit up here with your, listen, y'all be running around here with your little holier than thou attitude. I'm going to tell you something. I could break your whole shit down within 5 minutes of looking at you, but just by looking at your damn aspects and seeing what time it is with your ass. And just because you ain't aware of yourself don't mean nothing. Okay, honey? Okay, honey? And okay, I am Rebel Brain says, tell him I love being a Draco. See? Y'all can't be running around here being scared of yourselves. When you get to a level of healing in consciousness levels, okay, I'm talking about conscious levels. When you get into other dimensions in terms of your consciousness levels, because some of y'all are incompetent when I speak about me being in these different dimensions. Oh, if that's the case, then why is she still here? Ignorant as hell. Ignorant. Just ignorant. But I will share this with you. If you guys are not operating on the same frequency that I'm operating on, more than likely you're not going to actually physically see me. I've done that so many times with people, it's ridiculous. I literally could be standing in front of people and they won't see me. Because the level of consciousness that they're operating on and the frequency that they're operating on, they don't see me. That's a real thing that happens. Just like people you got that say when the California fires went down, you had a group of people that said they didn't see no, they didn't experience that, and you had another group of people that said they did. Okay, are they wrong? No, they're operating on two entirely different frequencies. That's a real thing. It happens. Yes, melanin is found in the cosmos. Melanin is all throughout the cosmos, beloved. But when you're operating on higher dimensional levels of consciousness, the world that you see isn't the same world that everybody else sees that's not operating on that level. So you get an opportunity to see how the world is really ran, and how the world is really ran. You guys would shit yourself. I can't even talk to you and tell y'all half the shit that I would like to tell y'all. I'm borderline doing it. And I'm borderline sharing things with you now. When I told y'all about the destiny swapping that was going on with our bloodline, that's borderline me telling you certain shit that I probably shouldn't be talking about out here in the public. And the only reason why I'm talking about it in the public is because I want people to heal. But there's certain things I would never talk about never talk about in the public. Not ever. Not ever. Because not everything is meant for everybody. They don't call these secret societies for nothing. Here's the truth of the matter. Not everybody can handle certain types of levels of information and knowledge before they're supposed to handle certain types of information and knowledge. Did you guys ever think about that? There's levels and responsibilities to knowledge and power. If you give someone who was unhealed access to certain powers and they're under unhealed state, what do you think is going to happen? They show you in every superhero movie that has a villain, they show you what happens. They show you the healed versus the unhealed. That's all you're seeing in these movies. When you see X-Men, when you see Avengers, when you see DC Comics, when you see all these movies put together, it's literally the healed versus the unhealed. I'm just shifting your perspective on how you need to be looking at this now. It's the healed versus the unhealed. They show you this in video games too. In video games, you ever take notice that you got to play a game to get to a certain level? You got to put the work in to get to a certain level, then certain powers unlock, or certain things you get access to unlocks, or what is perceived to be power for that video game unlocks with you. They've been telling you in the video games. You don't get your powers if you're unhealed. You got to heal to get access to them. And be clear about something, because some of y'all are really ignorant out here. There's a difference between powers and gifts. There's a difference between powers and gifts. Gifts and powers are not one and the same. Some of you guys have the gift of sight, where you can see with your first eye. Some of you guys have the gift of hearing. Not everybody has the gift of hearing. That's your gift. There are some people out here that have access to different types of gifts, but are extremely powerful individuals. Because they put in the work so they can get into the role that Source has given them. And then they get access to a certain amount of responsibilities and powers and gifts and things of that nature. Some of you guys think your gifts is all that there is. No, it's not. You're not even scratching the surface. Just because you can see and hear, what's that mean? There are plenty of people that can see and hear that are unhealed. What does that mean? I know people out here that have gifts, but can't discern from the forest from the damn trees. Very malevolent human beings. They ain't got no business about themselves at all. They're living miserable lives, trying to make other people's lives miserable because they're miserable, jealous and shit like that, going out here trying to cause problems on people. Yeah, they got their gifts, but they have no power. The real power comes from those who know how to operate within the heart space. Creative artists without a conscience. That Bart. What's Bart? Real power comes from within. That is correct. There are so many people out there that seek power outside of themselves, not realizing that they are the power, that their power actually comes from within. But some of y'all running out here, running down the block on the power's out here. There are some of you out here, you know the main reason why a lot of these people go out here and do these deals, these rituals and sacrifices and stuff like that. You want to know why they do stuff like that? Because they're searching for power. Something that they didn't know that they had within. Then they get themselves caught up in these nasty ass contracts with folk where they're under somebody else. And so, did they really gain the power that they thought whenever they're still being controlled by somebody else? I want you to think about that. Even Diddy and Jay have somebody else that they got to answer to. The ones that got it out here the way they got it out here without doing the necessary healing work, and they got it out here by being in their malevolency, and they went out here and they did deals with all types of folks. Let me tell y'all something about how this works. You see, when you put yourself out there to start doing those types of deals with those types of entities, your soul belongs to them. Period. They're the shot callers over your life. That's why so many celebrities don't have free autonomy. That's why Kanye West has been fighting so hard to come out and say whatever, and he himself has been placed over heavy illusionary magic and spells, causing him to act out to say the things he's saying because he's been trying to fight out of what he got himself into. When you go into that space because you want to get access to fame and power and money and opportunities going in that direction, somebody always owns you. You're always going to answer to someone, and someone's always going to own you. You're never going to be free. When they need you to attend a Met Gala, you're going to show up. When they need you to attend some other event, you're going to show up. When they need you to attend some type of party, you're going to show up. You're going to have to. Why? Because if not, then all that status and everything and all them doors that they open up for you because you then gave part of yourself up to get access to these things, they have the power to close those doors down on you. That's what you made the deal with, and your life is still miserable. Even if you was to leave, your life is still miserable. Look at Cassie. She's a prime example of someone who actually participated in Sean Combs' shenanigans because she was in love with him. And love will make you do crazy shit when you don't have no love for yourself. That girl is still paying a price to this day, and she will pay a price for the rest of her entire life because of her getting involved with that man. And that man paid her $20 million. You think that man still don't have access to her? You think that man still couldn't pull strings on Cassie if he wanted to? A deal was made behind the scenes on that situation that none of y'all don't know nothing about, where she's allowed to have a husband and move forward. Diddy could have been took her right on up out of here if he wanted to. No problems. You saw what happened with Kim Porter, allegedly. Please. She's his storyline to freedom. Be clear. She's his storyline to freedom. Because if you seriously think that Diddy wasn't aware that them folks was coming for him, she's his storyline to freedom. Tyra said, clock that T. You peeped it, right? He's coming home. Even if he gets convicted, he's going to get pardoned. Trump's going to pardon him. Yeah, Tyra, you peeped it, right? She said, went right over y'all heads. He's not righting his wrong through her. That's not what he's doing. She's his storyline to freedom. Because all you're hearing is her story. That's what's been promoted the most throughout the trial. Everything is centered around Cassie, y'all. Y'all not paying attention. Yes. A lot of people is going to go into hiding when she gets out. At this day, that's been talked about, honey. That's already been talked about at the beginning of the video, baby. You ain't saying nothing new over here. At Chocolate Angel 92, now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. She's the storyline to his freedom, period. That's why I keep telling y'all that whole thing was orchestrated. Joker, Batman, and the Clown from Miss Hair Doctor. A real life story, a real life movie script. Boom. Oh, it's okay, Lisa Dye. It's the story they want you to see and pay attention to. Boom. And that, my friend, is the work and the art of a magician. And he's one of the best to ever do it. So while you got all these Diddy sympathizers out here and these Cassie sympathizers out here, she's a storyline. All right, y'all. It was great speaking with you guys. I appreciate the time. I enjoyed y'all. It feels good to be back because I am back. Y'all saying, damn, I know. Let's go back and play the video. All right, go back and play the video. And also to my YouTubers, make sure you hit the like button and click the subscribe button because this is being uploaded to YouTube. Thank y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all. Peace.